Before I discuss the topic of my remarks, I'd like to share a bit about my personal background, which informs my conversation with you today. I grew up in the desert in Tucson, Arizona, on what was then a rural route. My grandfather's cattle ranch had been whittled down considerably in size as a result of the financial storms of the last depression, but we were pretty happily established there amid the cactus and the cottonwoods. My family had built a little compound with my grandparents in one house, my father and mother, and the four of us kids in the other. I don't remember when there wasn't music going on in some form. My father whistling while I was figuring out how to fix something, my older brother practicing the Ave Maria for his performance with the Tucson Boys Choir, my sister sobbing a Hank Williams song with her hands in the dishwater, my little brother struggling to play the huge double bass. Sundays, my father would sit at the piano and play almost anything in the key of C and sing in his beautiful baritone, love songs in Spanish for my mother, maybe a few Sinatra songs while he remembered single life before children and responsibilities and before the awful war that we won that time. My mother would play ragtime or something from Gilbert and Sullivan. When we got tired of listening to our own house, we would tramp across to my grandmother's, where we got a pretty regular diet of classical music. Evenings, if the weather wasn't too hot or freezing, and the mosquitoes not threatening to carry us away to the land of Oz, we would haul our guitars outside and sing songs until it was time to go in, which was when we had run out of songs. There was no TV. The radio couldn't wander around with you because it was tethered to the wall, and we didn't get enough allowance to buy concert tickets. In any case, there weren't many big acts playing in Tucson, so if we wanted music, we had to make our own. The music I heard there in those two houses before I was 10 years old provided me with enough material to explore for my entire career, which has stretched from the late 60s until now. It gave me something else, too, something even bigger than that. It gave me an enormous yardstick to measure my experiences against generations of other people. It placed me in a much larger cultural context and helped me to locate my humanity. Sometimes it shocked me when music revealed the intensity of an emotion I was feeling, something I hadn't even realized I felt so keenly or disturbingly until I had a musical lens to bring it into focus. Years later, I would have the same emotional experience, paging through works of classic literature. It occurred to me, no school curriculum would be complete without the works of Shakespeare, Dostoevsky or Tolstoy, Henry James, Edith Wharton, or F. Scott Fitzgerald. Why, then, would it be complete without a working knowledge of Mozart, Beethoven, or George Gershwin? In the United States, we spend millions of dollars on sports because it promotes teamwork, discipline, and the experience of learning to make great progress in small increments. Learning to play music together does all this and more. José Abreu, the founder of El Sistema, the children's music curriculum currently considered to be the best in the world, says this: an orchestra is a community that comes together with the fundamental objective of agreeing with itself. Therefore, the person who plays in an orchestra begins to live the experience of agreement. To agree on what? To create beauty. Music exists to help us identify our feelings. Through music, one can safely express strong emotions like anger, sorrow, or frustration that might otherwise find a release in violence, or, just as bad, cause one to seek the numbing relief of drugs. I'm continually stunned and deeply concerned when I hear groups of school children trying to sing something as simple as Happy Birthday, and they are unable to match pitch. Many recent school children's performances that I have observed sounded like a gray wash of tone-deaf warbling, not the children's fault. As I am now 62, I have become concerned about keeping my mental faculties intact and recently acquired, that's why I'm reading, recently acquired from National Public Radio, a program I can do at home called Brain Fitness. It was developed by Michael Merznick, a leading researcher on neuroplasticity, which is how our brains can change and adapt to meet new challenges like stroke, head trauma, or old age. When I opened up the program on my laptop, I was very surprised to discover that hours and hours and hours of the exercises were based on one's ability to distinguish pitch. It turns out that this ability has a great deal to do with how our brains process and store information. Do you know a way of putting in sequence 26 things and remembering them? Well, the alphabet has 26 letters, and we all learned it the same way. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can still remember a bit of a grammar lesson the nuns at St. Peter and Paul School drilled into my head by using the tune of Sweet Betsy from Pike. First person refers to the speaker, you see. For personal pronouns, use I, mine, and me, which came in handy when I was trying to write this speech, because I've never written anything longer than a thank you note. For thousands of years, human history was passed down the generations using music as a way to remember long sagas before they could be written down. In these modern times, we tend to think of music as an entertainment or something that helps a troop of soldiers to step out smartly in a parade. Music is not just entertainment. Music has a profound biological resonance, and it is an essential component of nearly every human endeavor. Oliver Sacks, the noted neurologist, wrote a book called Awakenings, in which he describes his patients whose brains were severely damaged by Parkinson's disease. These patients were unable to walk, but when music was played, they were able to get up and dance across the floor. Music has an alternate set of neurological pathways through our bodies and our brains. Increasingly, people's experience with music is passive. We delegate our musical experience to we delegate our musical expression to professionals. Music cannot be learned without both listening and playing. We need to teach our children to sing their own songs and play their own instruments, not just listen to their iPods. Do we really want our children's musical experience to be limited to the mainstream commercial music that is blared at them continually? They deserve and are fully capable of learning to express themselves in the more subtle and profound ways of traditional and classical music. In the written testimony that I submitted, I cite examples proving the power of music education to raise test scores for all the other subjects, math, science, and reading. Currently, I'm acting as the artistic director of the Mexican Heritage Foundation in San Jose, California. We have a mariachi program that has functioned successfully in the school since 1992 and an exciting math and music program in development. So I urge you to increase funding for all the arts and especially for music education. Access to quality music education should not be only for those who can afford it. The benefits are too great. For underserved families and indeed for all families, participation in music and the arts can help people reclaim and achieve the American dream. Thank you.